So, sorry, first off. This is a really late review of Skull Island. Now, I wanted to watch this and get my review out before Gamera Rebirth, which I do plan to is a day one. And Skull Island was meant to be a day one, but the problem is that I was doing other stuff, and like other stuff kept coming up, so yeah, it kind of fell on the back burner. Skull Island fell on the back burner for me, unfortunately. So yeah, but hey, better late than never. I really was excited for Skull Island, and I really wanted to watch it. And I also, like I said, I wanted to watch it before Gamera Rebirth came out in the next few days as of this recording, which I think it comes out Thursday. So, getting ready for Gamera Rebirth. So, but first, we got to get through Kong first. So, yeah. Can I also just say that we're eating really good, Kaiju fans? That we've been eating really good. First, Kong animated series. Gamera a new animated series. Next, and it was just announced today that Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the new MonsterVerse TV show, will be coming out in November. Not only do we get Godzilla in November, in Japan, but we also get Godzilla -1 coming out internationally in December. Then in April, another 6 months later, we have Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. And top that off, we have Justice League taking on Godzilla and Kong, the MonsterVerse versions of them. So I don't want to hear any bitching and moaning, because for some reason, whenever we get so much stuff from, Godzilla stuff, whether it be MonsterVerse or Toho, there's always, a sect of fans who always have to bitch and moan. I'm like, shut the fuck up, alright? Shut the fuck up. Do you know how long we languished of not having any kaiju stuff? For decades. So shut up. Even when Godzilla 2014 came out, there was still very little. So, I don't want to hear a goddamn, anyone complaining that, all this stuff, it's too much stuff. Kaiju is becoming... That's literally been the argument. That's literally been the complaint of kaiju stuff is too mainstream. Oh, go suck a dick, gatekeeper. Yeah, that's my response. I'm happy. I'm generally happy at the fact that there is all this stuff. Now, we don't know about the quality of the stuff, but the fact that we're getting it out first and foremost is nothing short of awesome. So, for right now, I'm going to be happy. And I choose to be happy. And if you don't like it, then get fucked. That's really all I can say, is if you don't like the idea of all this stuff for kaiju fans to come out, just go suck a dick. That's all I can say. Go suck a dick. Anyway, where was I? Oh, right, Kong. So what did I think of Skull Island? Well, I'm glad they called it Skull Island because there's a very lack of Kong here. This is definitely MonsterVerse Kong. In fact, they actually referenced the movie once or twice. I actually really love the first reference to the movie of, it was a soldier who was on the boat watching the Hueys go into the storm and go into Skull Island. Actually, someone on YouTube blended that scene and the helicopter scene where Kong's fighting the helicopters really well. I really like that. So yeah, I do like that it is Skull Island, because it doesn't say Kong Skull Island. This is more about Skull Island and the fauna you see on it, and more fauna that we get, which some of them look like goddamn Pokemon. We do only get one Skullcrawler scene. It's like blink and you miss it, but yeah. The other animals we get on Skull Island are really cool. I really enjoy the amount of animals that we have, the variety. The names, from what I understand, the names weren't that great, like Sand Croc, like Mega Croc and stuff like that. Some of these animals were really cool. They just have piss-ass names. I will say the Night Boys were really cool. Those are probably my favorite. The Night Boys were probably my favorite of the animals, of the new animals. They were just freaking scary. So those were the albino gremlin-looking animals that were all bunched together on the tree, if you guys remember. Yeah, so I really like them. The Night Boys were probably my favorite. I would say my second favorite would probably be the chameleons that Kong fights in the flashbacks, which, by the way, I'm going to talk about the human characters real quick. The human characters are all right. You kind of, like, the whole story of Annie and everyone is there. Mae Whitman, which it took me, the moment I heard Annie, the orphan girl, which it took me a moment, I was like, oh, I see what they're doing, little orphan Annie. Okay, duh. But she's alright, but it took us like, oh, that's Mae Whitman, which most of you guys would know best is Katara from Avatar, Amity from Owl House, and April from TMNT 2012. She's a very well-known voice actress, and it was very cool to see her here. Her character's alright. It's very much like they were trying to copy Frank Marlowe again, but more like, what if Marlowe was here since he was a child? And they do like the extended lore that there were other islands, like little archipelagos that were connected to Skull Island, and she was on one of them. The animal that she has, Dog, he's alright, he's cool. The other characters, like Charlie and Mike, they're alright. The human characters in the present are just kind of like, eh. Especially when you figure out the story of Annie and the main quote-unquote villainess, Irene. You kind of figure out all that really quick. I will say, though, that I feel like this show would have benefited better if it was more about the characters from the flashbacks, because the flashback the characters are really cool of this Spanish expedition group that got stranded on the island and adopted a lot of the Iwi culture. And I'm like, I would have totally watched the entire show if it was about that. And Kong connecting with one of the women who live among them, because Kong's always got to have a girl on the side, right? But I felt more connection with that story, and I felt like that would have made a more compelling story than what we had here, which is an adventure story. But I never felt a good connection with any of the present day characters. They were all just a lot of them which were cannon fodder, and some of them die bad. I was actually surprised of how violent some of the characters get eaten or stabbed. That actually took me from, I was like, huh, I thought this was going to be like Camp Cretaceous. But then again, Camp Cretaceous did get away with some stuff, especially in the first season. But this one, like, you actually see, like, people getting limbs severed, stuff like that. And I think it's a good idea, animation. It's another step forward in animation-wise to do these kind of shows where you don't depend on, like, a fart joke or something. But yeah, I will say the writing is kind of everywhere. Like I said, there's some violent scenes with the animals and people getting eaten or killed, but on the other end of that, the characters feel kind of funny and kooky and like belong in a younger audience show, so it feels like the show doesn't know where it wants to be. That's why I was kind of like connecting more with the backstory with Kong and his connection with the main antagonist, the Kraken, which was a really cool antagonist. I like the overarching. I love that as the Kraken as an overarching villain, especially the design of it. But I felt more connection with the Spanish crew, the lost Spanish crew who were living with the Iwis. I really enjoyed that. I do like that this, there are a lot of questions in this show, and I'm hoping this gets another season to answer those questions. Like, what's the deal with Kong's Firebird? He has his own little pet bird, like, and I guess that, like, the idea is, like, it's supposed to be, like, Godzilla and Mothra, but, like, it's just different. It's still a flying animal, so the Firehawk and Kong are supposed to, like, represent, like, that's Kong's Mothra. Okay, I want to see more of that. What happened to it, and where was it when the island was destroyed? If you're wondering what happened to the island, it's not destroyed yet. This is like, apparently I did some digging, and this apparently takes place in the 90s. Like, the show takes place in the 90s. But that doesn't, like, at the same time, I'm like, wait, didn't Monarch say they had a base established after the events of Kong Skull Island? I was like, wait, yeah, I read somewhere, this is something, and it's not just this show, it's the whole damn Monsterverse. They really need to get someone like they have at Disney with Star Wars to get the continuity together. If you're doing this, you need to get this continuity in line. And it's really bothered me because there's so many, like, legendary comics that have been retconned out of it, have been retconned or ignored completely. And I know, like, oh, they're just comics that are meant to tie in with the movies. They don't really mean anything. Yeah, but at the same time, you can make that argument with the Marvel Star Wars comics that are coming out, and they're in continuity, and they're even referenced at times. So yeah, if the Monsterverse wants to be like a shared universe of just the MCU with big monsters, I feel like that kind of needs to be done. But yeah. All in all, it's a decent show. Like I said, the human characters are just there. The monster action's really good, although I don't know why Kong has darker fur and he's not brown furred. I don't know if there was maybe I missed something, but yeah. I was like, wait, what? Kong's got brown fur. Why is he, like, darker furred? I don't get it. Is it supposed to be contrast to the art? I don't know. But yeah, all in all, decent show. I really do hope it gets a season 2. I've heard jack all about a season 2. I'm just hoping for it. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of Kong Skull... why do I keep trying to say Kong Skull Island? It's just Skull Island. What did you guys think of the Skull Island animated series? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. Once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.